Greetings, humans. This is another installment from the Intrepid Astrologer, Stephen Poplin, and at your service. We're looking now at the lunar phases. I'm going to be giving you specifically some information about the lunar phase happening just tomorrow. You'll see here with this picture in front of you that I have the 28th of January 2021. It's going to be a full moon, but what I will present to you today can be used for many new moons, full moons, but I'm also going to include some other celestial events in which you can work with, you can use, you can surf on, you can utilize the divine and dynamic energy that is always there for us. It's always good to know, however, with our good intentions, our desires, wanting to do the right thing, having our goals and plans and so forth, all of that is important. But also timing is going to be important too. And we have, of course, the great big cosmic clock there in the sky. That is the greater timing. And one of the important components there is the moon. It has its phases from the new moon every month. That's why we get the word from the moon month. And then there's 29 days, but approximately 7 days to the quarter moon, 14 days and some change for the full moon, and etc. back then as it waxes and wanes. It's a beautiful cycle, and it's good to know when to plant the seeds, when to take action, when to work with the celestial gears in mind. So good. Here's my contact information, and yeah, so let's go ahead and begin. Here is a beautiful image here of the lovely cycles of the moon. This particular image was taken every evening over 28 days. I'm going to have to say that, they must have been in a very dry climate because, in some places you can't be guaranteed, a cloudless night for a whole month. But here we again have a lovely cycle, a very rhythmic one, very sensuous. And if you were to take that image there and continue the cycle, it would turn into a figure 8. And then there we have then the divine sense of infinity there. And as it says here from the Bible, from Genesis, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years." And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And thus, from there, we see not only the rhythms of the sun, the moon, the stars, but when you understand the mechanisms behind it, and we can go like in the direction of Isaac Newton and the mathematical movements of gravity and around our solar system and beyond. Yeah, that's one sort of mechanism. That is more design and mathematics and physics and so forth. And as we see here with this famous drawing from 1888, that yes, the curious shepherd, the curious man or woman, leaving the perspective of the known world and looking beyond, again, the classic mystical understanding, looking into the occult. And the occult just means difficult to see or to observe. We have to break through the curtain, as it were, to see beyond. And that's what astrology, metaphysics, spirituality, synchronicity. That's what all of this is about. And it's a grand journey. And yes, nice to have you on board. We take a look now at the big picture here. As things move around through the zodiac, we classically, of course, know here in our tropical zodiac system here, starting with Aries, which is over here to the left of the circle and below the horizon, as it were, and then going from fire sign Aries to earth sign Taurus to air sign Gemini, there towards the bottom into water sign Cancer, and it continues around the cycles here. And we have, of course, not only, this is classically, we know those zodiac signs are the sun signs because of the approximately 30 days each, 30 degrees each, actually, that the sun goes into these various signs. And yeah, we calculate our birth times, our horoscopes from that. And of course, that is just the sun going through its cycles. The moon will go through that very same zodiac in 29 days. And so it makes approximately 12, 13 degrees per day as it moves on through the zodiac. I had mentioned already Aries, fire sign element. It was the fire itself. After we go through Cancer at the bottom, we start moving up that zodiac circle, and then to fire sign Leo, to earth sign Virgo, air Libra, Scorpio up here, moving up here, Scorpio with the water sign, then more towards the top, Sagittarius, yet another fire sign, and then the third round introducing those elements. And so I'm going to be talking about the elements here in just a second. Sagittarius, fire, going up here to Capricorn at the very top, earth, then off to Aquarius, and it is Aquarius time right now. Air of the ideas and information and communications. Then here off to the left again, the final sign of the zodiac, and that is Pisces, again back to water. It goes through those four elements again and again, 3 different times, making a wonderful triangle in the sky, but again with the 4 elements. There's so much interesting symmetry in this. And if we were just to take a look at the sun, for instance, winter time, and we have to act accordingly. We could go swimming in the winter, but unless maybe you're from Scandinavia, it's usually not a very pleasant thing. So working with the natural order of things is what I'm talking about here. Working with the lunar phases, but not only that, but also with the solar phases and with other interesting alignments that I'll get to in just a minute. Yes, surfing the zodiac, recognizing not only your own calculated chart where you will be, let's say, a Libra, and the moon will be in a particular sign, another sign, rising sign, of course. We'll get into some of the specifics of looking at a chart, deciphering a chart here in just a minute. But let's first of all take a look at this full moon. It shall be once a month, but this particular one happens to be, of course, on the 28th of January of 2021. But again, one can use this video, one can use these ideas for whichever full moon and other cycles. I'm going to give you an overview. Watch out for the Mad Hatter there too, because we have this idea of La Luna, the moon, and then lunacy and lunatic, and the Mad Hatter party and the rabbit, taking one off on one's trip down the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland. has her adventures. Well, we too, above the ground, we have got our adventures too, and it's good to have a bit of a map, a cosmic map, a energetic map, a celestial map that we can use. This particular one here I have set here for the East Coast. I am in Virginia Beach at this time, and so I have set it for that location, and that's going to tell us, in which house the sun happens to be. And then, since it's a full moon, the moon is always opposite then, just by definition, in the opposite sign here in the East Coast tomorrow, on the 28th of January at 2 in the afternoon. So that exact full moon, the people over here on the East Coast of the United States will not be seeing that, but you can still feel it. However, the energies, the light of the night light, the moon, the full moon, will be felt here on the 27th and 28th in the evening. So catch that energy. And my sense is that, yes, we calculated for the exact full moon with this particular horoscope here, but for you people wanting to do your rituals and special moments and times and gatherings and things like that, then that moon is going to be nice and round and bright here on the evening of the 27th and the 28th. Of course, 28th into the morning of the 29th. Sometimes full moons can have a strong action, and people feel it for 3 nights, but oftentimes it's either 1 night or 2 nights. And what is that, and why would one feel the lunacy? What happens with a full moon? We start off 2 weeks prior, and that was a new moon, which is very important for initiating things, starting things, whether that be habits that you would like to expand, programs, projects, creative arts and crafts and things like that, whatever you wish to, let's say, get moving, and wanting it really to be part of who you are. So I'm talking about imprinting your dreams, your desires, into your consciousness, into your subconsciousness. And that's why I'm also, besides an astrologer, a hypnotist. And so then I will make some suggestions here today. Knowing the times of things, coming up with your own particular movement, what it is that you would like, what would you like to get out of things, and then planting those seeds and then getting them started there on new moons. Then the culmination, the fulfillment of that Luna, see, the moon shines brightly 2 weeks later, and here we have then that example of a full moon. And this particular one happens to be in Leo, because it's opposite Aquarius, which is where the sun is at here in the latter half of January, every January. And in this particular example, I want to point out a couple of different things, just in case you're not so familiar with astrology and horoscopes and what are all these numbers, and it's just too much information. Well, it's lots of good information, and really clocking all of the different placements over there. So in any horoscope, the round circle right there, that is the zodiac as we look out in different directions of the sky. Just, of course, during the daytime, like this particular time, when you can see that the sun is above the horizon, well, we're not going to see the sky. We'll, of course, see that when the sun goes down below that horizon, and that this here chart, this horoscope, actually shows that. And again, in general, any particular horoscope can be read this way. On the left-hand side of the cycle here, we have got the rising sign. That's over in the east. When this exact full moon happens on the 28th, that will be the sign of Cancer. And so then we say Cancer rising or Cancer ascendant. And then that line goes right across the middle, and that is the horizon line. And anything below that, we won't be able to see. And that happens to be where the moon is at. So it will be below the horizon. Anything above that line would be what we can see. But because it's the sun up there, it's so strong, so bright, it is the king, it is the royal sun, then of course it's so powerful that you can't see any of the planets or the stars. We then take a look at where is the sun, and it's the circle with the dot in the middle, and that is found over to the right side up approximately about 2 o'clock if we look at clocks. And there is the sun right there in Aquarius, and there is a mounting bunch of planets here at this time, end of January into February, all moving here in the sign of Aquarius, and we're in the age of Aquarius. My humble opinion is that that age started when the ruler of Aquarius was discovered, and that was in 1781. So we've been in this Aquarian age for a couple of centuries. And then this recent Jupiter-Saturn, and you'll see them right up there in Aquarius, right next to the sun in this chart. They both, of course, had that really interesting and significant alignment here in the solstice just passed here, the end of January, the 20th of January, when those two giants of our solar system align. It begins a new 20-year cycle, but it's also moving into the element of air for the next 200 years. So very significant time. Basically, since the age of Aquarius, began in the late 1700s, and we're into it a good 250 years at this point. Yeah, look at all of our doodads. Look at our, we're online here. We've got computers and digitizing electricity, automobiles, rocket ships, airplanes. I mean, all of this is very techno-Aquarian. It's not Pisces at all. And so, yeah, all of these are signs that, yes, this is the Aquarian age. And so a subset of that is this new Aquarian cycle that has just started here on the 20th of December 2020. And again, 20 years, it's going to be there as the planets will continue to move, but the dynamic, the impact and the statement and the energy is Aquarius during an Aquarian time. So it's like a double Aquarius energy, and we're seeing again these interesting alignments here. I'll point out another very cool thing that I would recommend you go out and see if you can very soon. Now, again, back to understanding the charts, and any chart, by the way. We're just using this one here. We've got this full moon right there, again, looking at the sun, and it's got that Saturn on one side, Jupiter on the other side, so accompanied or sandwiched between those two big planets, again, in Aquarius. What an energy. Mercury is also in Aquarius, and I used a couple of asteroids. I have Pallas Athena also in Aquarius. Yeah, again, what an amazing lineup is going on right now. And yeah, things are changing. People are rising up. Humanitarian groups and goals and idealism, all very Aquarian, besides new innovations in technology, software, digitizing. I mean, there's probably lots of things I don't know what's going on, but they'll soon be on the marketplace here, making our lives hopefully easier. So it's a full moon, so we have located the sun. Opposite that, now in the second house below the horizon, again, there you have the moon sign, and that is in Leo. Leo opposite Aquarius. And yeah, I can expect a little bit more pizzazz and optimism and fun and goofy things here with Leo, which is rather playful. It's sometimes like a big kid sometimes. You'll see that right next to the moon is a circle with the cross in the middle, and that is the Earth position. And the Earth is always opposite the sun. There's a lot of astrologers who do not put the Earth into their horoscopes, but I do. I find it very useful, and it gives some extra information that you can use. And I believe that it is the ruler of Taurus, not Venus, but the Earth. So here we have during the general full moon energy, and people can get crazy. People basically break out of molds or routines. So let's say if you are more of a very fastidious person, organized, on time, and so forth, you may find that during the 1 or 2 days of this full moon that, wow, you may not care about that, and you may not make your appointments, or you'll be forgetful, and you just won't do it. It's like, that's kind of boring. That's a little bit too like rigid. At the same time, someone who is a bit of a lazy person may find themselves full of energy, and they just want to accomplish stuff, during this full moon phase. And a common question is like, why doesn't it affect everybody then? Well, it certainly does affect a lot of people, but very likely it would have to be aspecting these particular aspects here where that moon is, and here it is in Leo, and it is 9 degrees Leo. And so there's these orbs, how close do you get when you say that it's going to be aspecting one of your planets? Is it going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? That would be very, very close in the fixed sign fire Leo. And so, yeah, that would have to be touched upon. That would be something that you would be, let's say, inspired by and drawn into and expanded into the wonderful, playful, fiery, creative Leo energy at that time. Truly, for people who are writers, musicians, lyricists, poets, use this wonderful creative inspiration time for getting out, brainstorming ideas and so forth. It's one of the great things to use. And if this particular full moon doesn't make you start howling and get you moving in different directions, then maybe it'll be the next full moon, which will be the sun, will be then in Pisces, the next sign, and then the opposite position of the moon there, and 1 month after this would be then in Virgo. And so again, over the course of time, all of the different zodiac signs, and that means also the houses. Here we are looking at the sun in the 8th and the moon in the 2nd. The houses are aspected too. And so again, by consciously using the energies of the new and full moons, then there is an appropriate time for everything. A time for your finances, a time for communications, a time for exercise, a time for eating, resting, a time for everything. And when we really are working consciously with the times of things, then it's so much easier. As I had said at first, winter time, it's cold, it's snowy perhaps, and that's not a great time, to go out and lay down by the beach and get your suntan. Knowing the proper time for everything. Obviously with the sun and with the seasons, it's a lot clearer, it's a lot easier to see that, but with these others, they too have their seasons and their energies. And so I just behoove you to go ahead and use them for your advantage. And recognize, again, they go through all of the different zodiac signs and then the elements. Yes, elementary, my dear. Good to know the different energies there of the elements, from the fire signs to the air signs, earth and water signs. They each have their energies. We have these reactions, and maybe some of the more excesses or excitement or fulfillment, can be found on full moons, when it really brings out, the energies of those elements. And it's just a fun way of looking at it. So let's take a look at a real live person and a real live chart. Kamala Harris. Congratulations. This has been a very momentous time, of course, in her life. And of course, correspondingly to that in the United States, because she's now a major player upon the world stage. She was born in a full moon. And so here again, in another horoscope, and again on the left-hand side is the rising sign, the ascendant, and that was in Gemini when she was born. And then she's a Libra, and that is found over in the 5th house, which is approximately 4 o'clock. And there's, again, the circle with the dot in the middle. That is the sun. The sun at the very tail end of Libra. Of course, as I said, she's a full moon. So where's that moon? It is opposite, way over there, in the 11th house. And that's where her moon is at. And notice, too, that it's 27 degrees. And so it's a pretty exact full moon. A variation of that full moon chart that I was just showing you here for the 28th. So she, as a walking full moon person, we find that there will be times that she will express more of her Libra side, which is about justice. It is the sign of the scales, Libra. And so there's going to be lots of lawyers and judges and people who are looking at legalities and so forth. But the scales is also the musical scales, and there's many musicians, artists, and creative people who happen to be also Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, and so it's a feminine energy. But in her sense, she's a bit of a feminine warrior energy, because opposite that sun is the moon in fire sign Aries in her chart. So here we have a full moon person here, and that shows another side to her when she's not being, let's say, diplomatic Libra, or judicious, or circumspect, or polite. Then that moon may shine, and then she's going to be a tigress. She's going to be strong. She's not going to be shy. She's going to be out there and maybe a freedom fighter. 11th house oftentimes is associated with groups, organizations, parties, and of course she's a very prominent member of the Democratic Party, and that's where her moon is at. You see right next to it is the earth sign, again, always opposite the sun, in that 11th house of groups and organizations, clubs, and identifying with all kinds of groups, and her specifically as an ethnic group. You'll also see then the planet Jupiter in the 11th house too. It's in the next sign over in Taurus, so it's far enough away that it's kind of doing its own thing, but it's always good to know where Jupiter is, because this is the Father Zeus and good luck and prominence and so forth. And guess what? There it is, right there in her 11th house, and the DNC, or the party, has chosen her as the running mate, and now she's the vice president. The air sign Gemini shows up here as the rising sign. Her sun is an air sign, and so that's ideas and communications and writings and judgments and travels and socializing and all sorts of things, all very good and necessary for anybody who's going to be in the public eye. And so, yeah, quite prominent. So that is not only an important chart here for the United States, and as we know, then therefore for the world, it's good to know a little bit more about horoscopes and calculations and things like that. Then take a look at that previous chart, which was the full moon happening right here, late January 2021. And that is now on the outer side of Kamala's chart, which is what we had just looked at right there in the middle. So the middle circle now familiar because, here again is the sun in Libra in the 5th house, again, opposite that there with the moon in Aries. Yeah, so there that is. Then, superimposed on top of that, are the transits in the sky. And we calculated, again, another full moon. And so the sun is, again, over there in the 8th house, sandwiched again between Saturn and Jupiter, as we had seen just with the standalone full moon chart. And of course, then opposite that, here in the 2nd house, is the moon in Leo that we had also talked about. So here is a full moon person with a full moon experience here. And even though a full moon will last, as I say, maybe 1 day, 2 days, maybe 3, and then it moves on. But sometimes those events, those things that can happen, in a full moon, especially if some of those young kids, happen to be drinking and driving and so forth, that could be a little incident that could make a major repercussion in your life. So, be smart, even though you want to be crazy and playful and so forth. In her case, of course, we're talking about kind of like the heavy 8th house dynamic. And in her natal chart, she doesn't really have any planets there, but there's a big accumulation of planets in Aquarius in her 8th house. This is a sense of pretty much maybe her in January, February, March, a larger period of time. But this particular full moon, and this is how you can use it. Okay, the sun is over there in the 8th house, and that is the house of complex finances, insurance, mutual aid, but it's also the esoteric thing, mysteries and impressions and dreams and astrology. So all kinds of really cool things, but going deeper into the psyche of others and being very curious about that. In general, that is probably, if I could be a fly on her wall, she's probably having some very top secret, very important one-on-one discussions and communications with people, making plans and so forth. And the 8th house is also a little bit about the secrets. And so we may not know exactly what kind of discussions we're going to be having there until maybe a long time from now. Opposite that, and that's where that crazy Leo moon happens to be. That's in the 2nd house. The 2nd house is not really a crazy house. It is about money, laws, those things that we value, possessions, and so forth. I understand that she is temporarily in a different abode, and that the vice president's home is not quite ready. So maybe she's taking a look at all of her stuff and the things that she has and what stays and what goes and so forth. But the 2nd is about what we value. And of course, then you take stock of what is it that you value. Your friends, security, your dog, your plants, the things that, are right there, you can touch, and you want to have them in your life. Okay. I would imagine as an air sign person, she probably has a lot of books. The way that one can use this, however, is that, okay, culmination, full moon energy, 2nd house, 8th house, Aquarius, and Leo. What sorts of very important things would you like to accomplish during this time? And she has many opportunities, of course, to do that. And so we too can think about all the different things that we would like to accomplish that's of a fixed nature, that's really lasting, not like, oh, I'm just going to watch this show or something. It's like, no, it's going to be more significant than that. And a deeper, more specific understanding of depth and what that can be too. So when one plans your full moon rituals, then yeah, think about, where is play in your life? Recreation, creativity. Yes, there's some things to do and people to be involved in your life. That's the Aquarian side. So the more that you know about the different signs and so forth, the more that you can work with the energies. And when that happens, then let the music play. It's a matter of knowing, what's happening, having the figuring out what is it all about, and then the aspects and the signs and the houses and things like that, and putting it then together, recognizing that all of the planets themselves have their particular sounds, and that was the music of the spheres. The grand, noble, inspiring Jupiter, for instance, or Saturn, that is very precise with its timing of things, and, is it time to do something, or is it time to finish something? Is it time to, wake up and get off to work? Yeah, we have to pay attention to time. So that it would be the Saturn song. And knowing all the different planetary songs, it is really a wonderful symphony. And the more that we know how to work with it, and we can, of course, predict it because, we've got our astrology charts and so forth, then, the proper time to do pretty much anything that you would like. And the recognizing this too, that much as you would like to do something, maybe it's just not the right time. And sorry, but it doesn't fit into the scheme of things. And so it's better to know when to do such things. And now that brings us to your part in the divine cycles of things. What is it that you would like to do, to experience, to improve, to expand? Yeah. So in general, we all have our dreams and wishes and so forth. And knowing that, then you, as a flame of God, as a spirit, as a spark yourself, Aquarius would have us join together, as in this series of candles, of lights, as an image can show us. Yeah, together we can do so many more things. So your part and the part of your tribe, of your family, of your good friends, and knowing when to do things and the right timing of things, and then, wow, notice then cause and effect. You do your part, you plant your seed. You have to wait, in the analogy of the farmer, wait for the sunlight and the water, and then the crops will grow. And then it'll be harvest time. Positively using the cycles. I've been mentioning before the specifics of knowing not only where the sun is, the moon is, but other planetary alignments, because it all adds up. This wonderful image here of some kids playing, but we have, again, the solar system. And it can be play, especially if we're thinking about a Leo full moon energy. Yeah, what sorts of play will we have? What will we think up? What kind of creative ideas are there for us to imagine? And not only that, there are, of course, other members in our solar system who are doing their thing too. For instance, we have got very soon here, the 10th of February, over in the east, the sunrise, just before the sunrise, maybe an hour before the sunrise. I would behoove you to get out there, and hopefully it's going to be a clear sky. We'll see about that. But wow, what an alignment. It's a special alignment in Aquarius, and this is the Aquarian energy, kind of a double Aquarian energy. And in that particular morning, it can be also here the morning of the 10th, but also of the 11th. And you will see over in the left-hand side how packed it is over there. Again, a lot of Aquarian energies, including there's Pluto at the top. The moon is in Aquarius, right next to Saturn, and then there is Venus, and then Jupiter, Mercury, and then just so close to the sun, you know, you're not going to see it. You would be lucky probably if you saw Mercury. It's relatively small, pretty close to the sun, but at the same time, because you know the moon is so clear, you'll be seeing that right next to Saturn, and Jupiter not too far away. The following day, over on the 11th of February, it will be a Moon-Venus alignment, and then it gets a Moon-Jupiter conjunction. So not only is it probably a very attractive thing, a beautiful thing, bring your cameras, you know, your photographic gear, and take a view of this. It's a relatively rare alignment, but yeah, not only enjoy it, but recognize that, oh, as we are looking at as above, so below, as those things, as signs and so forth in the sky, we can use them, you know. And so yes, Aquarian prayers of humanity, of striving together to do the best for many people, for as many as possible. And, you know, we're in this together on this beautiful Earth, this orb, this sphere floating in space, and it's relatively small. There's a certain kind of delicacy about it, and we have to really combine our energies together, not only to honor it, but also to see if we can, like, do some triage and fix a couple of different things. And how is that being done? Well, one could wait for the governments to, you know, be clever, or we can have the corporations, you know, start to become more generous and thinking beyond the bottom line. But probably we have to do it ourselves, you know. So people gathering in groups, and what is your tribe? What is your group? How would you wish to work with others? Because united we stand. It was a more strength in numbers, and many hands make light work. All kinds of cliches that are coming in appropriately, but wow, look at that. So they'll just be coming up like a string of pearls, you know, on that morning. And so I encourage you to go out there and not only see it, but, you know, time for breathing and contemplating the future and enjoying, you know, what's there. Yeah, do it, enjoy it, work with it, and create that new life, that next phase. That's what we all need. We look on down the road, and here in the Aries equinox, this will be on the 20th of March, and in the northern hemispheres, that is the beginning of spring. In the southern hemispheres, the beginning of autumn. But it is the Aries equinox, and this chart is set up here for Washington, D.C., so it's kind of like a specific here for the U.S. But again, people around the globe, you know, have that calculated for the capital of your particular country, and yeah, it'll create, you know, all of the aspects will be the same. All the planets in the zodiac, in the signs, will be the same, but they will be in very different houses depending upon where you happen to be and when you calculate this. So this particular one I'm excited about because it is a really very positive thing, with Jupiter in Aquarius right there, rising exactly on the left-hand side when the sun goes into Aries, when we have that equinox energy, which is kind of a reset. It's a new time, a new phase, and in this new phase, wow, Jupiter has, shining its light up there in Aquarius. Very positive, very optimistic, and I'm hoping that that is going to be like, well, by then we'll say, man, this pandemic is over. Happy days are here again. This is double strong because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. And if you look at the very top of this chart, you see that arrow pointing towards Sagittarius. And so, yeah, the ruler up there of the outer world, the external world, and that on a mundane or a national reading of a chart that represents the leaders of the world, executives, and movers and shakers and so forth, and that points towards a very positive, optimistic, ennobling worldview type of world citizen energy there. And where is that? But it's the ruler is in Jupiter in Aquarius rising, so kind of a double good luck sign there. The moon will be in Gemini, and it's right next to the North Node and right next to Mars, all in Gemini, and another air sign. And so, wow, important communications, not only on that day, but this is general energy here, kind of like setting it up for a long time to come. So, information connected to the fourth house, which is more like homes and real estate and the people and where do people live and substructures and your own backyard, your community, your neighborhood, all of that there in the sign of Gemini. Yes, grouping people together, recognizing, this is a chart for the U.S. and the Gemini is the duality. It's split, and this country has been split from the very beginning. It's just a part of what this country is about. And yeah, how to work together positively, even though we may not be on the same page. That's what the ideal is expressed in here. And there may be some initiations, programs, logistics, gatherings, volunteerism, and so forth, all pointing towards, yeah, let's get united. Let's do things. Let's build a better tomorrow. And that means thinking, and also it represents having younger people step up. That's the Gemini energy. It's also the air sign energy, more like, we need new blood, we need new inspiration and quicker, younger, visionaries. So in many ways, I'm quite optimistic about springtime coming up here. And this one here happens to be especially good for the United States, but those good aspects are there for the whole world, and each country, of course, will respond to it in their own unique way. But again, like in a new moon, like a full moon, we have those basic energies, and how do we use them? That's the thing. As a hypnotist, I now look at another level of this, and how can we go inside and having our ideals, having our plans, having our wish list, our bucket list, our list of accomplishments that we would like to have done in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, working on that, and then you've got it from the idea of your heads. You're in tune with the planets, but then you're getting it attuned with your inner self, your unconscious, that spark within. That is the thing. And meditation is one way of doing it. I have a couple of reveries that you can find also on my website, stephen-poplin.com. Yeah, take a look at that. And as an experiment, let me go ahead and try here using a quick 4-minute attunement. So go inside, get comfortable. Soon you'll have your eyes closed. And let's see about how easy is it for me to get this going here. Breathing, getting yourself into a good space. This is a time for you.
Now for a meditation. You there at home, I know that you're already reclining. If not, you can find yourself a nice place to sit. Sit comfortably. Many times you may find it useful to have your feet upon the floor and imagining the feet below your feet. Roots going into Mother Earth. And as you breathe, let's go within. Breathing, attuning. Yet another time for us to connect. Connect with the divine, that eternal light within. And so from your feet below into the earth, into Mother Nature, call up the energy, the force, the flow, the divine power up into the body. We breathe again, and from above, light, Father Sky, the sun. We call forth that light down to us, to our bodies, to our vessels. And here, the power, the love, the light meets in the center. Breathing that in. Light and love and energy right here. And as the inner fires warm, as the light shines within, contemplate now. Where would I be? Where should I be in a week, in a month, in a year? Where have I set sail? Where am I taking my ship, my vehicle? Let us go. Let us go. And so it is. Feeling yourself coming back, breathing. Thank you, Spirit. Refreshing, attuned, connected. We carry on.
Okay, I hope you found that to be a nice, relaxing meditation. And feel free on my website, my YouTube website, to find several options for this. I've got a 4-minute, a 3-minute, that you just experienced, and then there are some longer ones, 30 minutes here, that I have on the Stephen-Poplin.com. So yes, enjoy, and use those full moons, use those new moons, use any alignments, and go ahead and enjoy and thrive. And yeah, it's your life, and but wisely use those other options that we have here. So my last thing that I wanted to share is connected with the Watch It. And this is a device that I have created, and just recognize, just notice here that we're talking about a particular time. What time is it? It says the Watch It. And it is a left brain, right brain perspective. And you'll find it as a website, but also right now in the Android version, you can download it as an app. So basically, yes, this is yet another device connected with the divine. And with that divine, we can always take a look at our watches, at our clocks on the wall, and we know what time it is. But yeah, how about what symbolic time might it be? And just like there are these various times to do this and times to do that, yeah, it's always good to know the proper time to do things. This particular app, this device, you'll find it here on that website. Yeah, it can be used for questions, brainstorming, getting new ideas, new insights, new perspectives, and it's working on that that general idea of is what is there for us. What can we learn from that? Okay, good. So I also then would have you take a look here. My books, I've just given you a quick experience on feeling, sensing, looking at things, going within. And this going within can be very rich. And I have taken more than 30 years experience helping thousands of people go within. And by going within, then they go out into spirit, into past lives, into life between lives. It's a very rich experience, and take a look. I hope you'll find something there that you would enjoy and can inspire you. So there we have it, and I'm happy to have had this time with you. I hope it's been enjoyable, and I wish you all wonderful alignments with the moon, whether that be new moon, full moon, the alignments that we have in solstices, in equinoxes, and special alignments like coming up here in February of 2021. But yeah, eyes to the skies, and keep your idealism also focused and aware. I wish you good luck, and until next time.